Story 4. Jane. There once was a young girl filled with hopes, dreams, ambition in her heart. Her name was Jane. She came from a broken home with a broken life in Anywhere, USA. She was very smart, very pretty, with a heart of gold. But she didn't fit in anywhere. She just wanted a happy life, a reason to belong to someone, somewhere, anywhere. So she spent her days watching all the kids in the neighborhood because she had no friends and nobody cared about her. It was only her and a stray dog in the neighborhood. But that dog was very protective of her. She would go behind the alley every morning before school to pet and play with the dog. And then one day, the dog wasn't there waiting for her. She felt lost. She had no one. She had nothing. Constantly bullied in school. And she only went to school to escape from her home life. And she endured this life all the way up until high school. Now older, wiser, stronger. She wanted to make a change. She wanted to belong, fit in, feel accepted. Isn't that what we all want? She did everything. She tried her best to fit in. But nobody noticed. Nobody cared. So she was alone again. Senior year, she dropped out of school. She got a job at a diner, lived in a homemade tent in the woods for a while, until she found a cheap old motel to stay at. It was all she could afford. All that she asked for in life, prayed for in life, was to be loved and accepted. One day she went to church. That was where she started to feel safe. She prayed hard every night. Then she started volunteering. She led the Sunday school classes for the younger children. The kids really loved her. She was beginning to finally feel good in life. One Sunday, a man showed up with his niece to the class. The man barely spoke. He admired her so much from that first glance. Every Sunday he hung around longer. He so wanted to ask her out, but he was so afraid that she would reject him. Wasn't the man's fault. He was shy. She was too beautiful and smart. Everything he always wanted in a woman. And that scared him. He didn't want to take that chance. He didn't want to lose her. But one day she was gone. And the man was left heartbroken. He didn't want to eat, sleep, or work. Every single thought in his head was of her. And what wouldn't be now. Then one day, his job took him over to the next county. He was going on a supply run, stopped at the local diner. Upon opening the door, he saw her. She was bustling a table, her back towards him. He sat in her section, corner booth. She couldn't speak when she saw him, but they locked eyes. Finally, they had some small talk before the man finally asked her out. And she agreed. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Don't be late, she said before finishing. Meet me here. And so the man left, headed back to the job site. 6:50 that night, the man pulled up to the diner. She was closing the diner for the night after the last customer left. And she got in his truck. She wanted to get changed, take a shower, look all beautiful. But she paused slightly. She was embarrassed of where she was living, that old motel down the road. She didn't want the man to look down on her or to drive away. But the man was kind, understanding, and caring. He talked her into going to the hotel. After awkward moments of her trying to just say, "Drop me off at the corner, and I'll meet you back at the diner." He waited outside that old motel to give her time and privacy that she needed. He didn't care. She was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. There was something about her that he just wanted to be next to her always. He knew it was deeper than that, but couldn't wrap his mind around it then and there. They went to a coffee shop and talked over coffee. Her, a mocha latte. Him, a cup of black coffee. Nothing fancy, but an ideal setting to get to know someone. After their coffee, they stepped outside and walked around the town square, hand in hand, talking for hours, resting on a park bench as they watched the birds fly and the children play. He wanted to kiss her so bad, but he settled on a hug after the date. In the weeks that followed, he stopped at the diner almost every day just to see her, longing in his eyes for her. He was falling in love with her, and over time, she was as well. After a few months, the man brought her to his house to cook her dinner. From the inside of the house came a loud bark, but a bark that was familiar to her. The dog ran out of the house. It was the very same dog from years ago behind the alley. They both recognized each other right away. The man smiled at Jane and started, "I found him in the alley when I saw you years ago. The dog was sick. I took him home so I could get him better. I admired you from a distance all those years ago, but I was so shy, and I didn't want you to reject me," he stammered. Jane teared up and asked him why. "That dog was all I had at that time." The man took her hand, looking deeply into her beautiful green eyes, and said, "Because I love you." They were married a month later. The dog, Rex, passed away 2 years later. They buried him in their backyard and left his toys by a marker. Time went on. Jane got pregnant, a daughter. They named her Susie. They raised that girl with all the love in the world. They watched her grow from a baby to a toddler to a child, and a child to a teenager. Life complete. Jane loved the man more every day. She loved the family and the life they created together. Hard times, bad times, good times, the best of times. They were inseparable, all three of them. Many years later, Susie turned 18, and she was college-bound a few states away. The man smiled and looked at his daughter, laughing. And he said to her, "You're just like your mother. I've been so lucky and blessed with both of you in my life." They hugged. Lots of words spoken and unspoken before she drove away. Many more years passed. Jane and the man were a lot older and slower now. Health issues abound. They still went to that old diner every Sunday after church. And before you know it, they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. Every night the man would watch over Jane, protect her. She was his everything. He loved her more than any man has ever loved a woman, or will ever. He would always kiss Jane on the forehead and whisper, "I love you," in her ear every night before he went to bed. One day, Jane woke up early, but the man was still sleeping, which was unusual. She shook him, but he was cold. He passed away in his sleep. He was clutching a letter in his hand, something he started doing every night when he was sick, and she never realized it. The letter read, "Jane, I love you more than anything. You gave me the best years of my life. If you're reading this, you know I've passed on. Always remember you made my life worth every single second." Jane was destroyed. She was alone again. It was so hard to continue on without that man. A widow. She had nobody. Her daughter was away at college. She didn't have many friends. She was alone again. After the funeral, Jane looked back on her life with that man. Everything they did, everything they said together, in their own story together. And one day she wasn't sad anymore. She had memories, experiences with him that filled a lifetime of love. She pressed deep into their life story every day. She made it through. The inspiration is time moves fast. Jane was someone who had no one until she had everything with that man. She had all the life and love she always wanted. She was finally accepted, and she finally fit in. She fit into his life and into his heart. And together they created a lifelong love story. The end.